Yo, what's going on, guys? I bring you my Joker and Lex Luthor deck. Let's get into it. So the Joker is a very aggressive leader, and Lex Luthor is a more passive leader. But he is able to KO big things. So usually in an aggressive deck, you cannot deal with big guys. You don't really have single target removal in your deck. So that's where Lex Luthor comes in, and he's from the Tyranny section as well. So he does have access to a lot of Arkham inmates, so that's kind of what our deck is centered around. And it's a very aggressive deck, but it also has some control-y elements with Lex Luthor's ability and with a couple other cards as well. Alright, so you can see the curve right up here. It is, like I said, a very aggressive deck. A lot of bronze in the deck, decent amount of silvers, and only 3 golden cards. We really want to just be able to hammer down as many guys as possible at the beginning of the game. And let's go over what we got right here. Starting off with just the freebies. So Brainiac Drone is just a free draw card, and it can protect what is in the back row, so I really like it. And you can also use your Lex Luthor ability on this, and you can draw 3 cards for free pretty much. Then we have Kite Man, just an Arkham inmate that's free, and it's aggressive. Going on to the bronze cards, Mob Justice, we're going to be filling up our spaces quite a bit, and this is just another single target removal on top of the Lex Luthor ability that we have. Whenever a card is legendary in this game, it's usually really good, and the Riddler is nothing short of that. This is one of the best Arkham inmates you can ask for, and they have to get rid of it pretty much, or you just keep getting value. It's pretty nice. Mad Hatter is just an Arkham inmate engine, just buffs up your guys. It's a must kill. It's pretty weak stats, but it's still pretty nice, and you can always hide something in front of it, protect it with one of your cards here at the beginning of the game. Since we have a lot of low-cost things, we have Ritual Sacrifice, just explains itself. Also works very well with the Brainiac Drone, which is free. Punchline is so good with the Joker. Usually, when a card says the name of a leader in it, like the leader that you're playing in it, you probably want to play that card in your deck. And this card, not only does it have lethal, but the extra firepower for the Joker ability is so strong. And that also does work with a card like Ventriloquist as well. When you get the shoot randomly effect, it just makes it so it deals 2 damage for each shot, and it gets very powerful. Next up is Partners in Crime. This card is so good. You summon 2 3/1s, and it's for 1 bronze. So, and both of these 3/1s are Arkham inmates. So if you have out something like Clayface, when you deploy another Arkham inmate, you get +2/+1. It's just a free +4/+2. Or if you have Black Mask down, you're gonna be buffing up everything by +2/+2. You're gonna buff both of them by +2/+2, and you're gonna buff this guy by +2. It's so good. Mr. Freeze is really good as well. It's an Arkham inmate, and it exhausts an enemy leader, so that means they cannot attack the following turn. They can still use their ability, but 3 damage is also very good. It's just a solid early game card. Moving on to Two-Face, which is arguably one of the strongest cards in the deck as well. You literally flip a coin, and you can KO something for this bronze guy that's a 2/2 as well. It's very sad sometimes if you do draw the card, but Tails never fails. Two-Face is insane. This card is crazy. Yeah, you need it. We've got Hugo Strange to round off the bronze cards here. Hugo is just a solid card, kind of like Mr. Freeze in a sense. So you just lose an enemy leader charge, and you're on your merry way. He's also an Arkham inmate. Moving on to the silver cards, we have Jailbreak, which I think is one of the strongest cards in this deck as well. Summon 2 bronze Arkham inmates from the top half of your deck, which you're always going to have targets. For the most part, you're going to have targets. And as you just saw, there's a lot of very strong bronze cards in the deck. And when they're summoned together, they do really strong things like Black Mask plus something else. Or, I mean, if you pull off Two-Face off of the Jailbreak, it gets insane. Ventriloquist even is pretty decent. It's so good, and this is so good to follow up a card like Black Mask or like Clayface, and just like really explode onto the board. Next up, I have Giganta in here. Not totally sold on this card in the deck. It's not an Arkham inmate, but it's just gigantic, as the name implies, and your cards usually are pretty expendable. So yeah, 7/7 silver card, and you could always discard cards that you get from your Riddler if they give you a bunch of trash in your hand, you know. Next up, we have Penguin, and this is another scaling Arkham Inmate card. Whenever an Arkham Inmate attacks and KOs an enemy, give your Arkham Inmates everywhere +1/+1. Everywhere. In your hand, on the board, in the deck. Maybe even your future ones if you summon it off of something. I'm not sure about that. I wouldn't doubt it. This card is crazy if you can establish a board and then get him down. Yeah, this goes hard. Speaking of crazy strong cards, Bane is awesome. Bane is a 6/4. It doesn't really have a lot of health, but it's for a good reason, because if he can get his ability off, if this card can attack a leader, not only are you going to exhaust them, but you're going to permanently increase their leader ability cost by 2, which means basically they're never going to get to use it ever again. They'll get to use it once, and then like they're screwed. If you get this attack off, it is humongous. Next up, we have Mercy Graves. This card's just a solid silver card. It has guard, which is really is a strong keyword, and also your opponent doesn't generate their weakest resource next turn. And only having one resource for a turn, being able to play usually one card only for a turn, is very detrimental. So I mean, the best time to play this card is probably going to be when your opponent is going to have 2 silver resources, because then you get rid of a silver and they only get to use the 1 silver. If you get rid of a bronze, it still could be good, but yeah. I usually like to slam her down after I slam down a bunch of other stuff, after I've established a board. Then playing this is just like checkmate, pretty much. Then we have Anton Arcane. He gets +1/+1 for each friendly recruit that got KO'd this game. You're going to be spamming the board a decent amount, so I think he gets pretty big. Actually a little underwhelming. I've seen he's a bit slow. If you get him early game, it's pretty useless, but I still like him at the moment. Moving on to the golden cards, we have Poison Ivy, another Arkham Inmate with lethal, so it means anything it damages is going to get destroyed. But also, after Poison Ivy attacks a leader and damages a leader, then you KO the leader. I've never actually gotten this off, but that's kind of okay, because she's just so much of a threat that they have to deal with it anyway, and I'm okay with it. Usually they have to trade like 2 things into it, and we're pretty happy with that. The next golden card, we have Dark Seed, or Dark Side, however you want to call it. So when you deploy him onto the board, you can pay a silver, so you're using up all your resources for that turn, but you get to KO an enemy recruit, and you get to destroy that space. And that is so good for an aggressive deck that's trying to smack your opponent in the face. That means they can no longer protect their leaders, their leader that is behind that space. And last but not least, we have, of course, the Joker. After a friendly Arkham Inmate is KO'd, deal 4 damage to a random enemy. So you've established a board of Arkham Inmates, and you trade him in after playing the Joker, and he just blows up the whole entire board, literally. Like, he has a dynamite thing, and he blows it up. Yeah, I mean, it's your finisher card, and if you're buffing up all your Arkham Inmates already, if you buffed up the cards with like Penguin earlier, like he can get pretty big himself. So that's the deck right there. I'm going to go over a couple of things that I think could be in the deck that maybe I want to try out in this list. I would try out Gorilla Grodd. This is a very strong silver card, and maybe could replace Giganta in the deck. I think Harley Quinn is very interesting. I have it in my Harley Quinn Joker deck, because you do empty your hand quite a bit, but I mean, it just fits the theme of the deck. I wouldn't be surprised if this is pretty nutty in the deck too. I have Bizarro in my Joker Harley Quinn deck as well, and this card is kind of like Dark Side, in the sense that when you play, like, it's setting your opponent up to die. Like, it's moving their leaders right up front, and it's saying there's no more protecting. Unless they play 1 card in the middle with guard, they're not going to be able to protect their leaders. I'm also a little interested in Disorganized Crime, because you usually have a board of Arkham Inmates. This gives them a bonus attack. They attack randomly, but yeah, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. And that is my deck right there. Hope you guys enjoyed the deck profile. Hope you guys try it out, and let me know down below in the comments if you do like it, what suggestions you would have for cards in the deck. Please subscribe to the channel if you like the content and you want to see more DC Dual Force stuff. And I also make Marvel Snap content. I really like both games, so moving forward, that's the idea. Peace out. It's your boy.